Hey guys, welcome to the Josh and Tamra Show.
Hey, it's me, it's Josh.
And I'm Tamra.
Welcome to the Josh and Tamra Show.
That was a really long welcome.
So, we're very excited because we're doing a series of shows now where we're featuring one special guest for the entire episode, and today's guest is quite sensational.
Yeah, her name is Reilly. She's an amazing storyteller through paper. She does a lot of like cutting and making amazing faces in 3D paper sceneries. Is that what you would call it?
She does stories
through
dioramas. She does dioramas, the flat art, but
diorama.
her stuff is 3D. It's really fascinating.
It's
we're going to be
beautiful,
showing all of it. And stay tuned right after the intros to the show.
You're watching the Josh and Tamra Show. Hey, welcome, Kat. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Thanks so much for coming on the show. We're super excited to hear all about your amazing paper art and see your studio. Awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to jump right in because I'm such a huge fan. I've been following all of your Instagram and your Facebook posts. It's very inspiring, by the way. I love to see all of your creations and like how it manifests, especially the ones that you do posts where you have like a quick time dash of like how you make it. I'm gonna share that with our guests today too. But how do you prepare for a project? Does it start with sketches?
Kind of. They manifest in different ways. So some of them, they always start with kind of like an idea. I'm a big journaler. So a lot of times while I'm journaling, I'll kind of be writing and an idea will pop in my head. I'm also very big on like getting those ideas in the shower or when I go on walks and things like that. And things kind of like images will kind of flash in my head and then they'll kind of stay with me until I actually do something about them, which is make them.
Yeah.
But usually they're pretty vague and foggy. So then what I'll do is I'll use something like Pinterest and I'll kind of just start collecting references, make a mood board. And then once I kind of have my mood board, I might do some light sketching. Sometimes I just also, what I love about making stuff out of paper is the paper kind of also has a mind of its own and does its own thing. So, I kind of, sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to make a table. And then I make this table and the paper kind of helps me discover what that table's actually going to look like, as opposed to me having like a preconceived idea what it is. So it's a little bit of both.
Right. Like the medium kind of like does its own thing. And it's like a cool improv between you and the actual supplies.
Very improv, very much saying yes and to whatever is happening in the moment, which is also great because it helps me stay present and in the flow, as opposed to me getting in my own head about like, oh my God, it's turning into something that I didn't want it to be. And but just let it be what it's going to be, and it's still going to be awesome. Usually,
do you find that your projects drag on for months and months, or is it kind of like you get an idea, the light bulb goes off, you develop the project, and you got to get it done right then and there? Or like how from start to finish, how long do the ideas usually take?
It really depends. Some pieces I will have the idea and I will feel such a strong impulse to make it come to life and make it be that I will just basically sit down and like I will lose track of time, and by the time I like get a sense of reality again, it'll be done. Like for example, this piece I made this. This is Bob Ross.
My favorite.
Bob Ross portrait.
Wait, can you hold it close to the camera?
Closer.
We're gonna do some screenshots later.
Oh, look, we can see our reflection on it.
Now, what kind of paper do you use?
I use your run-of-the-mill cardstock that you can find at like Michael's in like a pack of like 500. I'm not sure exactly what the weight of it is, but it's pretty basic.
It's very textured, like layers. It's like the palettes on, like in front of the shirt, in front of the mountains. It's like, so I guess you have to plan ahead for like, okay, so I'm going to do clouds, and it's kind of like stages, right? Is that how you plan it?
A little bit, yeah. So, I paint. So there's a couple of stages to it. Like I'll have the idea in my head, and then I will actually get the paper and I'll start painting it. That's how I get the textures and things like that. And it also makes it a lot more malleable because I use acrylic paint, which means it's more flexible and it actually makes the paper a little stronger.
Cool.
And then I usually start with like the core of the piece, which will kind of be, in this case, it was Bob. And then what's kind of cool about paper art is I kind of, you can also kind of collage and kind of layer things up and kind of as you make one thing, you're kind of like, oh, it'd be really cool if I did this and I did that. Which is, I think, the reason why I've always been drawn to using paper or collage or any kind of thing to be my artistic medium, because I don't know, just doing everything on a flat surface never really jived with me. I kind of need to see the things, and I need some Z space, if you will, and like to play around and move stuff around.
That's so great. It's so great.
Yeah.
It's like a sculpture, but like a different like way of sculpting, but with like paper and layers. So it's really great. I love that piece, Bob. When I saw it popped up online, I was like, oh my gosh. It's so awesome.
Are they easy to replicate? Like if someone's like, oh my God, I have to have a Bob Ross, would it make you nuts to try to repeat that?
No, not really. I think the tricky thing with that is letting go of the idea that it's going to look exactly like the original.
Right.
But there are some things you can do. Like for Bob, I could try to, like, he's all hand cut and hand painted, so there would be some things I would have to do to like replicate him. And like, he is one of those, like, first I had to just do it, and I did it all in one day, and it took like 5 hours, whereas some of the pieces over here took me months. And yeah, I mean, I could replicate it. I think one thing I'm starting to embrace and experiment with is using a machine called a Cricut, which you kind of can do some digital vector. You can basically like kind of draw out some vector shapes and then have a machine kind of cut them out. So if I did want to move into mass producing, I probably could also, look at Bob, kind of, use my iPad to kind of like, figure out what shapes he's made out of, and then cut those shapes out and reassemble him. So it would basically kind of like, I would have a stock design for him, and then I would still need to do all the hand cutting, cleaning up, hand painting stuff. It would just be a little bit less free form cutting. But yeah, definitely possible.
I guess to jump kind of back just to, see, how did you get started and figure, oh my gosh, this is the medium for me. This is like my niche. This is what I love. Like, how did you start realizing, like, just jumping into this project? Like,
were you crafty when you were a kid and it started there? Or like, when did it kind of pick up?
Yeah, I don't know if I would call myself a crafty kid. I was a very imaginative kid, and I had a lot in here. I think my big baseline creative well is storytelling. I just love movies, TV, theater, basically anything. Puppets, like I love, like Jim Henson's one of my heroes. So I was just very caught up by any of those things, and I really loved tactile things like puppetry or set design, usually a combination of the two. So, but I also I wrote a lot when I was a kid, but I didn't really feel very confident in my drawing skills. Yeah. But what I did find is I kind of eventually would just kind of like find things in magazines that I would cut out and kind of assemble together. And that would be good enough to make the scene and visualize kind of what stories I wanted to tell. So I did a lot of magazine collaging when I was younger, up into like my teens, and then started to gradually get a little more confident in my drawing abilities, which is still one of the things I'm like weakest at. But by that time I had grown such a muscle for making stuff that when I got into more formal art classes in college, I kind of was like, oh, why do I need to like replicate this thing in 3D with charcoal on a piece of paper? I can just like build it, and that really kind of was something that I kind of had to like negotiate all through my formal art education. Yeah. But at the end of the day, just playing with paper and cardboard, found materials, hot gluing stuff together and really making these like 3D like sets or mini worlds or miniatures. I'm still figuring out what they are, but it's just always been a way for me to kind of let loose and let my imagination out in a really healthy and exciting way.
That's great. That's so awesome.
And now we're here.
What kind of adhesives are you using to create?
What are some of the
like
supplies?
The Bob one, like it's so clean. Are you using hot glue for that?
A little bit, yeah. So it depends. So I've experimented with different glues over the past couple of years. Bob, I'm gonna guess actually is probably held together with a lot of Elmer's. But lately, this is my main adhesive. It's a pH neutral bookbinding glue. What this does is it kind of gets very sticky on impact, so things stay, but then the bond is very, very strong. And it doesn't wrinkle the paper, it doesn't damage the paper, so I feel really confident using this. And then I will use an old-fashioned hot glue gun. This is more for structural stuff or just really making sure stuff's going to stay. So I I think like when I do a lot of the assembly, like a lot of this is held together with like the PVA glue, but then if I really want to make sure that this desk is staying down or something like that, or this cardboard stays together, I'll just use the hot glue.
Can we see that piece? It looks really great. It's like a 3D.
Yeah.
It's like almost like a set design.
Yeah.
Just getting up and go all over. Excuse the wires, but yeah,
look,
this
it
is...
lights up. It lights up, everybody.
Please don't drop it.
It does, hence the wires. I will not. Actually, it's tougher than you think.
Look how beautiful that is. Look at all those the details
you.
in the books. And the book stack's amazing. Does it light up now, or does it need to be like hooked into something?
It needs to be hooked in. So these are actually experimental pieces, which is why they're not fit and finished. You can still see kind of like, you know, they're all made with cardboard from like wet food, cat boxes that we get every month. But this would be plugged into an Arduino board, which is a microcontroller where I can kind of control and set the LEDs color as well as its dimness.
It's so beautiful.
What's the story? What's the story in this piece?
This is kind of I call this the writer's attic or the scholar's attic. The story behind this one is, so last year I was really fortunate to get to have a lot of people kind of contact me for commissions.
Yeah.
And which is such an honor, right? And in the midst of that, you know, the pandemic happened, and I kind of just needed to get out some I don't know, I just needed to get out some angst that I was feeling, some overwhelm I was feeling, and what I wanted to do is just kind of like create that was kind of the year I feel like everybody was really trying to figure out, like, make really comfortable spaces.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of work on my studio, making it feel like my home. And then I kind of started getting into reading again. And I just thought, you know what, like, how beautiful would it be to just like live in a room that's just filled with books and filled with stories. That's and so kind of, awesome. You know, something that I find very comforting. And so, yeah, this image just popped in my head of just having like a moonlit room just filled with books and no technology, because I was also very overwhelmed by all the technology and all the time I was spending in front of screens at the time.
Right.
And that's kind of where this originated from. And then just the tactile process of just spending a couple of weeks just making books was just really nice and calming for me.
It's so good to see. It's like you have
really
something
cool.
in your head, and then to actually like create it, and there it is. It's like giving birth to an idea. It's so wonderful.
Does each book have a title on the binding? I can't really make it out.
It doesn't. They just have kind of like little
squiggles,
like little lines to show how they're binded differently.
It's very cool.
Yeah, haven't gotten that detailed yet.
Yeah,
maybe
but it's
one
still
day.
pretty good.
I do love this idea of being able to hold up a microscope and finding even
like
more surprises.
All the details, yeah, it's pretty cool. Though.
There's another piece next to it that's really beautiful as well. That's a actual like a set little scenery that she came. I guess obviously you had a wonderful idea. It was like a camping, the camping.
Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah, this is another in the series of lights.
It lights up.
There's more wires here, if you can tell.
So the stars light up. Like, it's really pretty. Actually, I can share my screen in 1 second, and we will do that after you explain this piece.
Yeah. Again, just kind of rolling off the themes from the writer's attic. This just kind of came from just this. At the time, you know, again, this was COVID, thinking about really relaxing, unplugging. But this was also during the time where up here in Northern California, we had like 4 very big wildfires happening simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of made me really value.
So this is the light, like that's what it looks like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, little LED lights. They're all kind of embedded back here, and then you can see there's all copper wire that kind of connects all the that kind of creates all the conductivity. And then I would plug this into the Arduino that would control the lights that are here. And there's also a light inside the tent to kind of show, like, kind of create the idea that there's somebody inside with a flashlight maybe reading. And then there's also the fire kind of glows, those last embers kind of glow in and out.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Do you just light everything up at night and just walk by your studio and be like, not bad?
Every once in a while, yeah. I do currently have one piece that's traveling around the U.S. in a Frida Kahlo themed art show.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to share my screen.
Tamra's going to do a little screen share here.
So here's...
sure.
Let's go through a little bit of some of her pieces. So this is
cool.
Jim Henson piece. Mm-hmm. This is the piece she just showed us all lit up.
That is. Yep.
So look how beautiful it's like.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and then
thank
this
you.
is the Frida Kahlo piece has.
Oh, is that the traveling piece right now?
That no, that is another Frida Kahlo piece. I was so excited and so grateful for Frida because she gave this opportunity to not only experience my first gallery show in a while, but the piece won an award at the show. It also got sold the first day, and so it was kind of like this very big moment for me as an artist and very validating.
Yeah.
And so I was just feeling a lot of love for Frida. So I made that piece in the style of the Bob Ross and Jim Henson portrait, just to give her some love.
So cool.
That was after a trip to Japan, and I was like, I love sushi, and I love how beautiful it is. I want to make paper sushi.
Is this just regular construction paper, or is it hard cardstock?
It is hard cardstock.
Actually, the reason why I say that is because I was flipping through your pictures and I saw this on your page. Is this like kind of what it looks like, the hard cardstock?
A little bit. I can grab it. This was actually when I was in Japan with my partner, and we went into a paper stationery store, and I freaked out. But
was it just
yeah,
like
the
greatest paper store ever?
Yeah, the paper's like just this, and it comes in all different colors.
So
and
pretty.
I just paint it.
That's so awesome.
That's amazing. It's so funny. You stepped out of frame, and just the shot of your workshop is like a work of art. Just
Thank you. I'll give you more of that.
It's very well coordinated in colors and theme, and it's just pretty awesome. I'm also very jealous because I had to tear down my workshop, and now you have like a fully functioning thing.
You used to have like a puppet workshop with like all the supplies, just like you have behind you.
I literally can't find a pair of scissors.
And then like
these
puppet,
days.
like the rods to hold the puppets on it and stuff. It was really cool.
So Kat, we got a really cool video that you've posted of your actual process and a time lapse, right, of how this works. So let's go ahead and see it now. Let's see. And we're making.
Yeah. So what we skipped is the like painting of the paper step and cutting up some of the pieces. But I thought this would be interesting to kind of show like how essentially paper art is just a bunch of, shapes that come together to make a larger piece. And that's what I kind of find so fascinating about it, is that, that's how I look at something. Like when I look at an object that I want to create in paper, I basically just look at, well, what shapes is it made out of? And then I kind of cut those shapes and then just keep adding on. So you start with the basic shapes, and then you start adding the details in, and round it out a little bit, and it eventually becomes a thing. Wow. And it looks like I might be talking on a Zoom call during this because my hands are moving a lot, but not much is happening. Oh, there we go.
Have you ever animated any of your characters in the still lifes that you do?
I've experimented with some GIFs here and there, but I haven't done any stop motion with them. They're not, but there definitely is the ability to. I thought about, I've seen some like paper puppet shows, shadow puppet shows in the past, and I've definitely gotten inspired to maybe give that a whirl one day. But yeah, haven't really gotten too much into videos yet. I'm a little more geeky, but this one is me kind of actually working with some LED lights, which I have a bit of a hardware background, so kind of bring the two worlds together.
Wow, that's amazing.
How'd you learn all the hardwiring
Look
stuff?
Look at you solder. You're like totally soldering.
Welding and cutting wires.
I am so soldering. So I got my master's degree from Parsons, the New School of Design in Manhattan, in their design and technology program. And so that program isn't straight up like I'm a product designer by day, and so work on UI for a education startup. But what I did learn at Parsons was they encouraged us to like learn about whatever aspect of technology that impressed us. So I got to take some physical computing classes where I learned how to do all this stuff.
Like laying down the metallic something there. Like it seems so.
Copper wire. Copper wire tape.
That's it. Copper wire. That's
amazing.
amazing.
What's the copper wire tape do?
What it does is it creates connectivity. So I don't have to run a wire the entire time. I'm basically linking the wires connected to the lights to the copper wire, and then the wires that go to the battery are connected to the other side of the copper wire. So it just basically creates a current without having to use wire.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Here's what I'm going to say. Wow, look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's so beautiful. You have this really cool 100 Faces campaign. Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so 100 Paper Faces is basically just comes from me wanting to be better at doing something that I don't feel like I'm very good at. And as we all know, the best way you can get better at something is by practicing. And so I never felt like I was very strong at faces. I feel like I can create any object out of paper, but in terms of faces, I kind of was doing this one template where I kind of, would just do these like eyes closed and, everybody looked like they were sleeping. And I was like, well, what if I want to tell a story where the character's more animated or going through something a little more emotional? So kind of really tried to figure out like what aspects of the facial features are paper versus what would I paint, and just kind of experimenting with pulling those levers.
Nice.
So I'm up to
I'm just sharing a couple of these amazing faces. Like I love the texture, like where it's not only is it her hair, she has a little hair, ribbon in her hair, and her face has, obviously you painted freckles on it. And then this is beautiful too. It's just like how it looks like the wind is actually blowing. And I love how you set it up against the background. It looked like very textured, painted background.
Oh, thank you.
So let me unshare.
She's right here.
Oh, let's see. Oh, there she. Look at that.
Oh, that's
see,
wild.
Those are all her 100 faces. So it's in her. So you keep it in the book.
Most of them are in the book, yeah. And then there are some where I got carried away and I made a very 3D version, so she can't quite fit in the book yet.
Oh, can you go a little bit closer? Sorry. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, and can you hold her to the side? I want to see the side. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, she's half 3D.
It's so beautiful. It's beautiful. Do you intend to create a bigger piece with her, or do you feel like that's it, just a part of the faces?
I've thought about it. I think there's a reason why she's kind of not in the book yet. I think there is something I've actually discovered inadvertently while doing the faces was I actually discovered I really was drawn to doing characters that had costumes, like, either headpieces or like with Red Riding Hood, she has interesting hair and she's wearing her cloak. And I was like, oh, there's something here where like it's a whole ensemble. It's not really about just the face for me. So I definitely see her as part of something bigger.
I could see that. I could see it.
And I really dig her. I really dig this one.
Yeah, she looks like the start of an epic production of some sort.
I'm just going to share a couple more things I pulled just to go through your pieces, and then I wanted to show like this is one of the projects where it starts off right with a illustration, and then it goes to a more in-depth illustration. And then it's the final piece, right? And then it's nice and framed. Like, it's just like those are the steps that Kat takes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it starts off like this, and then a little detail. And then look at the detail on this dress. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
And then I love, even in the background, the wheat or the grass or whatever. It's like, it really flows and captures a moment, like as if it's a picture. You're so great at paper art. It's so amazing.
Thanks, Tamra.
And then, I know, it's so, and then here's look, this is some more of her art. And I like this picture because you could really see, look at how the paint, the details and the paint strokes are nice and neat. And also this is from the camping set.
I love that too.
This is when it's on. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and then look at this. It's like floppy disk 3D.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then this cute little dog. Was this a commission piece or was it for fun?
It was. Yeah, it was a commission piece for a dear friend from grad school.
And these shoes details are amazing. And look at this looks like a commission piece as well, I'm assuming.
It is, yeah. So paper is the material of the first wedding anniversary. So I've done quite a few first anniversary presents. So that's why you see a lot of wedding scenes. So I did a fundraiser called the Mystery Paper Art Fundraiser, where you could pop me $25 at the time, and give me a word of inspiration, and I will send you back a little mini artwork that is somehow inspired by that word. And the purpose of that was to raise money for an organization called Color of Change, which is an organization that creates activation, education, and awareness around issues of racial inequality and social injustice for Black Americans. And I was really motivated to do this around the time of the George Floyd murders. I think, like a lot of us who were kind of experiencing that, we were left with this sense of like, what do I do to help? Yeah. And since the pandemic was raging, and my partner is a high risk, we couldn't go out and protest and be there. So we both actually used our passions and talents to raise money for different organizations that would, kind of at least help educate and help people who were most affected by what was happening at the time. So the fundraiser raised over $1,300, which I'm really, really proud of.
That's huge.
That's so funny. Like everybody else was just sitting and binge watching
Baking
Netflix
bread.
and baking
You're
bread.
actually out there
and you're
doing
actually
good.
fundraising for a cause.
So, Kat, let me ask you.
Trying.
So, believe it or not, we're
Trying.
almost out of time, and I just want to make
Oh,
sure
cool.
we get this plug in because I'm so overwhelmingly impressed with your work.
That's great.
And Tamra's been talking to her for like a million years, but like now that I've actually finally seen it, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And how do people
Purchase.
How do people go about finding you for commissions? Is it just they find your Instagram account and they're like, hey, what's up? I want to do whatever? I'm assuming it's lots of word of mouth because you're not doing gallery shows
I know
and stuff
she has
right
a
now.
website and she has an Etsy page. So I guess tell us where we
So
can
what do you want to plug to get the people
to go check you out.
Yeah.
to get the commission?
I am around on the social media at the same handle, the Paper Cat with a K. So you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I guess maybe now Twitter because Instagram and Facebook are still down at the time of this recording.
Yeah, I know. That's weird.
But yeah, I also have a website that actually has a online shop where you can purchase actually Bob Ross or LeVar Burton portraits
Nice.
and more to come in there. But yeah, thepapercat.com.
And thank you so much again for taking your time and explaining and showing us your amazing, beautiful artwork in studio. And we're going to put a link right down here where you can go see her I guess, website and purchase amazing prints. And yeah, thank you so much. Maybe we're going to have to commission you to do one of us one day, right?
First, I want to figure out a commission, and two, we need a tutorial at some point. So we're gonna have to maybe do a part 2 on this at some point.
I just showed it.
Damn.
Yeah, but I'd like to do and now you take the glue and you put it on the thing.
Nobody-
So I want to make something.
Step by step.
Nobody's got time for that on TV,
Nobody's
but
got
other
time.
than that, we'll have a private session with Kat. Thank you
can do
again,
that.
Kat. Very inspiring. She has a lot of great online, like on Instagram and in Facebook. She'll post you post some videos inspiring other artists and teaching them in ways of thinking and being creative. And I think that's wonderful. Giving back to the community also. So good luck with everything. I can't wait to check back in and see where you're at in a couple of years with this amazing business. So.
Me neither. It's been a fun ride so far, so we'll see where it goes. But thank you so much, Tamra. I've really loved being, in your orbit for these past 10 years, and so it's really cool to reconnect in this way. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Josh.
Of course.
All right.
Nice meeting you. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. This is awesome.
Awesome. All right. See you. Bye.
Bye. Are we really
Bye.
hanging up, or are we just doing fake hang up?
No, let's do it. I was trying to do it.
Oh, you're trying to. Sorry, I couldn't tell. I can never tell.
I was trying to do a real hang up.
Real hang up. Okay. Real hang up. Bye.
Bye.
You guys, that was so beautiful and inspirational, and I really hope she does a secret commission of Josh and I, and we open it up in the mail, and we're like, what is this?
Because
And
her
then it's
art
a
is
huge
paper.
thing
She
of
can mail it.
You and I.
She
Josh.
inspired me. I made a paper hat. There's also a boat.
And her name is Paper Cat, and it rhymes with paper hat. So that's how you can remember our amazing guest, Kat Reilly. And you can also, right here's all of her information. You can go to her website, check out all of her artwork, and purchase something in her store.
Speaking of stores, did you guys also know that you can go to youtube.com/TheJoshAndTamraShow at any time, day or night, around the clock to see past episodes, this episode. Click like and share with all the stuff on the social medias.
And subscribe. Why not, right? So
And you guys are the greatest.
thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a great time. I did.
We'll
and
catch you
go
next
out
time.
And be creative.
Go, create something.
Catch you next time.
On the Josh and Tamra Show.
Bye, guys.